No Talking Action with the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience here in the Extreme Three-Way Dance. JC, Jenny, and Matt. We are simulcast audio on all podcast applications, video on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe. Don't miss a thing. We've had a lot of cool Survivor Series content lately. Some of it is evergreen, so even though the show is now a wrap, you can go back and check that out. Some really cool stuff cooking there. And of course, we're heading to Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season, so it'll always be a lot of fun frivolities going on the North-South Connection and our sister and brother network. Is there such thing as a brother network? I don't know, maybe.
Whatever you want it to be.
We'll avoid that. Anyway, so we are covering 3 weeks of ECW television this week. We are an ECW-based podcast, obviously, going through the history of Extreme. We began in February of 1994. We are now toward the end of 1999. We are in the final, I don't know what, maybe now, 13, 14 months of ECW. Still a lot to cover, though. We still got a lot to go. We'll be around for a while. We're not that close to the end yet. We're starting to wrap, but we're getting closer to graduation than we are to starting, so we'll call it that much. But how are you both doing here tonight?
I'm good. Have I always had to share my screen with this no-so logo here? Because I feel
I don't know.
This is a new development.
Yeah.
How's that better?
There we go.
I like it.
We have it in the bottom left. We don't need it on the right, I guess.
You can put it over my face if you want. It's fine.
Yeah. Let me just do this instead.
That also works. Either one.
Okay.
If you ain't watching us on YouTube, you really should.
It was a good sight gag what he just did there.
Yeah,
so.
I got a fresh haircut too. You can check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I do the opposite. I have it long in the summer and short in the winter.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that is backwards is what that is. Yeah.
I did try and get in before the holiday rush. So there you go.
There's a joke somewhere in there.
All right. October 16th, 1999 episode of Hardcore Television is where we're going to start off our night. And we are backstage. The Impact players are seething. Just Incredible asks what they haven't done at ECW. They ran the franchise out of town. They ran the Sandman out of the business. They chopped down a 7-foot giant named Sid. They took years off of Jerry Lynn's career and decades out of Tommy Dreamer's life. Storm says what's left are the tag team titles. Dreamer and Raven are garbage. And the Impact players will bring dignity to the belts and showcase them the wrestling capital of the world, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And, of course, all through this, Dawn Marie is interjecting her random asides. Credible and Storm wrap up. So pretty basic opening promo. Matt, I would say the biggest question would be the delusion in place that they thought Dreamer had decades of his life left.
He's still a young man. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. And he's still fucking wrestling today.
He
so
still
whatever.
kills that shit.
Luckily, they didn't take off a lot of decades because he's still alive, so that's a plus. But
Yeah, no, there's two.
Right, exactly. So I mean, it was fairly standard Impact player stuff. I feel like it's the same promo we've seen him cut like once per episode of this podcast. So
No one asked a rhetorical question like Just Incredible. I'll say that. What haven't we done?
Yeah, I did Dawn Marie just randomly making noises in
She's
the
great
background.
in these promos.
Yeah, she is fun. I did like the term garbage champions referring to Dreamer and Raven because that's just for real.
Yeah.
They've been garbage. So we'll see if that changes. Probably not.
All right. We get our opening animation. Joey Styles in the ring at the Hilario outside New Orleans, Louisiana. The crowd is fired up. Joey setting up the first match, but we're cut off by Jason's music. We get highlights of his match with Jazz from Heatwave. Joey looks bemused as Jason's strutting around. He's looking jacked. He's in his designer jeans. Jazz is out next. She gets some cheers from her hometown crowd, and we're going to get a Heatwave rematch to kick things off. Joey does intros. They're in the ring. We're set for our big rematch, Jason versus Jazz. Jason clotheslines Jazz out of the ring at the bell, misses a baseball slide. Jason no-sells a lariat. Jazz kicks him, shoots him to the railing. Jazz lays in chops and kicks him into the crowd, flies off the apron over the railing into Jason to a big pop. They head back to the ring where Jazz gets 2. Jason catches her with her head down, power bombs her, does a cocky cover for 2. Joey says Jason is winless in this series and demanded this match in her hometown. Jason slams Jazz, drops the leg for another lazy near fall. Jazz comes back with a sunset flip for 2, and Jason pops up with a lariat, follows with a suplex. Joey says Jason is obsessed with Jazz. His arrogance keeps costing him the match, as though Jazz reverses a whip, gets across body off the middle rope for 2, runs into a back elbow. Jason poses and messes around. Jazz cartwheels away from a strike, but Jason kicks her down hard. Jason gets a forearm off the middle rope, does a seductive cradle, but only gets 2. Jazz floats over a backdrop, kicks away. Jason counters a stinger, but Jazz floats out of the powerbomb. Jason counters another jazz stinger into a jackknife pin for 2. Jason pops up with an enziguri for 2. Jason heads out, grabs a chair. Jazz yanks it away, swats him in the knee, and hits the jazz stinger to a pop for the win. This is a fun match. I thought Jazz looked more lucky and beneficial to Jason's ineptness and his arrogance versus any kind of real threat, which is fine in theory, I guess, but she's been presented as a threat. So it was just an odd approach. Like, this felt like maybe it should have been like the first time they fought versus now where she probably should have kicked the shit out of him, especially in her hometown. So 2 stars. She's still rising, Jenny, but it just felt like this is a chance to make her really kick the shit out of him, dominate, and kind of put this to bed. Instead of like Jason just picking her up, prancing around, and then she like steals the win.
I don't know. I don't know that she stole the win. No, I think that they tried to do something a little bit different. They went outside. They went into the crowd. She did a big jump into the front row. Like, she expanded what she normally does. Like, they made it a real match as opposed to what they could have done, which is like have her just like, haha, he just kind of fucks around and doesn't really have a match. It felt like an actual match as opposed to what they could have done. I like that she got like a really like kind of a real entrance this time. She got like music, and she had her fans, and they really like did her up as far as presenting her in the beginning of the match. But yeah, I did feel that Jason got like way too much offense on this overall. And it is amazing how long we've watched Jason do
Right?
what Jason does. Wrestle is a strong word.
Almost 7 years. I mean, well, almost 6 years.
Time.
Because since he was around, like in the very beginning, pretty much with the pit bulls, right? And
Yeah.
Pit one bite his face or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he's always just kind of been like in just kind of the background of this group, that group, whatever. And now he's doing this. It's interesting. I mean, it's not nothing. It's something. I've always loved these intergender matches, and I don't know. It's a weird but like kind of cool spot, I think, for the both of them. So I did 2 1/4, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 2 1/4 on this too. I think the match they had I think it was Heat Wave, was a little bit better, but this was still like pretty close to that. I like Jazz winning again. I feel like if you're gonna do these intergender matches, you got to have Jazz win. Like, unless you're doing some sort of like schmozzy weird thing where it gets Jason over as more of a shitbag than he already is. I think you should just have Jazz win every single time they wrestle, because it helps her out, and this got a good chunk of time too, which I think was interesting. So, and it worked. Like, to you guys' point, they did some different stuff in this too, or I think it was Jenny's point, where like she dove into the crowd, and just it was different stuff than what we've seen from these two before. So I thought that was interesting too. So yeah, and it was a relatively, for ECW, clean finish with Jazz hitting the Jazz stinger. So yeah, 2 1/4 for me on this. I thought this was pretty fun.
Well, we got highlights from TNN of Carino and Rhino attacking Kid Cash and Pablo Marquez, or Tom Marquez, I should say. Pablo's back in the day. The original Marquez. They're trolling the Saints fans and players that triggered the brawl. Joey's in the nest. He hypes ECW on TNN and the Friday Night Thrill Zone. Joey says they continue to battle the censors every week. And despite involvement from the State Athletic Commission, Sabu will be on TNN, and Hardcore TV is must-see TV, because we will show the stuff that TNN won't let them show. So already starting with the issues, and yeah, I guess it's a good hook to watch the syndicated show, because you will get maybe a little bit more violence. But I don't know. On TNN last week, we had a tell-all expose with Sunday.
Yeah,
it's hard to say exactly what's what, but
it's just like, why are they still doing this commission bullshit with Sabu? Like, let's move along.
We don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's been a while. All right. 3-way dance time, as Simon Diamond is here to take on Tajiri and Little Guido. And that, of course, means it's time for our Italian lesson of the week. All right. Tonight we'll be covering Cosa Nostra.
Posa Nostra?
Cosa Nostra.
Posta Nostra. Something night?
Either of you? Okay, no, not quite. But
Okay.
Something about a nose is my guess.
no. You want to take another guess? Okay.
No.
All right. It is the Italian term for the Sicilian mafia. Simply referred to as the mafia. Cosa Nostra literally translates in Sicilian to "our thing." This thing of ours, so it's basically that. Criminal society and organization originating in the island of Sicily, dates back to the mid-19th century. It's association of gangs, self-protection, arbitration services under a common brand. Basic group is known as a family, a clan, or a cosca. Each family claims sovereignty over a territory, town, village, or neighborhood of a larger city where it opens rackets. And members call themselves men of honor, although the public often refers to them as mafiosi. By the 20th century, wide-scale immigration from Sicily led to the formation of mafiosi-style gangs in Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, U.S., and South America. These diaspora-based outfits replicated the traditions and methods of their Sicilian ancestors. According to Wikipedia page, there's about 5,500 lifetime members of the Cosa Nostra. I don't know how
They counted everything, counted all of them.
It seems kind of hard to track all that. But the word mafia originated in Sicily from the Sicilian noun mafiusu, roughly translates to mean swagger, but can also be boldness or bravado. In reference to a man, mafiusu, 19th century Sicily, was ambiguous, signifying a bully, arrogant, but also fearless, enterprising, and proud. The reference to a woman, however, was a feminine form, mafiusa, meaning beautiful and attractive female. Sicilian word mafi refers to the caves near Trapani and Marsala, which are often hiding places for refugees and criminals. Sicily was once an Islamic emirate, therefore mafia may also have Arabic roots as well. And of course, I don't have to go through the history of the mafia. There's a lot out there through time, the different wars that happened overseas in Italy, First Mafia War, Second Mafia War in the mid-1900s, and of course on to this day. And right here in my own little state, of course, is home to some famous mob action as well.
Yeah.
Federal Hill Boys, amongst others. And most infamously, the subject of a Crime Town podcast series as well. So there you go. There's a lot out there.
Have you ever been in the mafia?
I'm not gonna say like I'm in it, but
yeah,
can't really talk about this thing of ours,
Right.
Yeah. I was
certain ties.
But I will say, like, growing up, I did hear things like so.
Yeah.
Like what?
Not like my grandfather owned a bar, so an Italian guy owning a bar. There's some, hints of things there.
Yeah.
So guests, etc. Whatnots. So anyway, there you go. Cosa Nostra.
Very interesting. Yes.
I told him it's okay. I wasn't going to give any more secrets away, so we're good. Simon Diamond's in the ring with his new bodyguard. He gets "You Suck Dick" chance. He says he has a new close personal friend, Dick, who's going to watch his rear at all times. Ooh. Simon says, "Dick, remove my robe," and then Dick massages his shoulders. But Simon says, "I didn't say." Simon says, the fans fire up an F-word chat, which Joey says is unwelcome by ECW and ignorant. Since when? I don't know. Simon wants good luck wishes. Dick says, "Go get him, Tiger." He slaps his ass. Simon says, "I'll let it slide," even though he didn't say Simon says. So there you go. Little Guido rides out Sal. We cut backstage for a quick word from Danny Doring. Calls out Chris Chetty. Roadkill and Miss Congeniality are glaring behind Doring as he talks about the Danaconda and calls out Chetty as he's recovering at home. He says Chetty will always be a punk bitch. Miss Congeniality says she'll show him a punk bitch and drags him off as Roadkill gives a hand signal to say they're going to go bang, and then just says chickens. We come back to the ring, and Tajiri's out there. Diamond calls him Mr. Miyagi, and he says, I want you to say just one word of English. Tajiri pushes him and spews green mist in the air and says, "Simon sucks dick," and then slugs him down. Well, they did say that Hardcore TV would have the stuff that TNN wouldn't allow.
Yeah.
Guido gets
Raw's going to be like soon.
He takes down Tajiri. We get some chain work behind between them into a Tajiri handspring elbow. Tajiri stomps away. Simon comes over and wants some of Tajiri, so they trade some chops. Tajiri comes down with a kick, smacks him around in the corner with some brutal chops and a head kick. Tajiri misses a clothesline. Diamond gets a flapjack. Tajiri flops to the floor. Simon meets him with a pescado, poses on the apron. Guido knocks him down, but he whiffs on a pescado and splatters to the floor. Simon stomps away, but Tajiri meets them both with a wild Osei moonsault that barrels into them. Tajiri resets as both come in via the top rope. Tajiri stomps. Simon slugs away and takes him down with a superplex to a pop. Guido follows on the top rope splash for 2. Tajiri stomping on both men. He rattles Simon with a jawbreaker and a hard lariat. Guido follows with a running back elbow. Tajiri peppers away at both men. Guido snaps Simon to a Fujiwara. Tajiri buries Guido with a drop kick to the face. Tajiri chops Simon, kicks him low, and Guido finishes Simon with a tamakaze. Simon leaves as Guido brings the fight to Tajiri. It's a neck breaker for 2. Tajiri comes back with a bridging German. We get pizza chance for Sal. Tajiri twists into the tarantula, but Sal makes the save. Sal holds Tajiri, but Simon trips up Guido. Sal stalks Simon and Dick to the back. Tajiri crushes Guido with a leg lariat for 2. Tajiri hangs Guido in the tree of woe and drills with a baseball slide for 2. Guido catches Tajiri in the corner, kicks at him, comes up empty on a baseball slide, bangs into the post. Tajiri chokes Guido with his belt, hits him with a brainbuster, and picks up the win in a hot match, as always, for these guys. I thought Simon, did fine, held his own, even though he's mainly in there for comedy. He got some shine. Tajiri's just awesome, and Guido is right there with him. So rock solid, hot mid-card stuff. 3 1/4 from me, Maddie. I mean, Tajiri, Guido, crazy. Those guys are all just completely locked in.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on it. Diamond, like you said, definitely held his own in this, which surprised the hell out of me. So good on him, I guess. I mean, you knew he was probably going to be the guy who was going to get eliminated first.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was fine. So
I like the mixing different guys, like taking 2 of the big 3.
Yeah.
And then putting random thirds in, like, has mixed it up nicely. Like, you got crazy Guido Tajiri as your base, and then you mix in Lynn, you mix in Diamond, different guys get rotated in that third spot, and it helps keep things mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, you got to keep it fresh. As great as like the 3 of those guys are, you got to do something to kind of keep it fresh every now and then. So I'm fine with it. Dick, he looked like Nigel McGuinness if he worked at like GNC or something a little bit. So just a fucking. He was like, remember Brackus? He was kind of like that, but less German. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Diamond held his own. Guido and Tajiri did their thing, which is always great. So 3 stars for me, Jenny.
Is this Dick guy? Is he anybody? Do we need to look him up?
I don't think he is. If he is, I have no idea.
Yeah, no one I recognized.
No.
Just a rando, weirdo. Wonder if he hangs around or whatever. We'll see, I guess.
Apparently, I think his name. Apparently, it was Dick Hertz. Was like his full name.
That's his Christian name, Dick Hertz. Yeah.
I'm trying to look more at him here. Yeah, Dick Hertz. Also, one by the name of Brent Hammer.
All right.
He does not.
A theme.
This is it. I don't think he does much else. He has 2 Saturday night matches in '98 as Brett Hammer, and then here, like, this is it pretty much. He has one match. So
worked on the Indies as Philip Penis.
No, Peter Eatus. Penis for short. But he, I don't think he does much else. This is literally it. I think he's done. He must switch roles, switch jobs after this.
Okay.
Well, Dick Hertz doesn't have much of a
Dick
run.
Hertz. You always need a big dick around. That's what I always say. But
I do miss Big Dick Dudley.
I don't.
Swapped one dick out for another.
What is a Danaconda?
That's a fantastic question. I'm not
Moving
sure.
on.
I'm not sure.
Is that a Just Incredible style rhetorical question, or are you looking for an answer?
I had it in my notes.
I think it's another penis reference, Johnny. I'm pretty sure he's talking about his giant snake of a dick.
They should have teamed Danaconda with Dick Hertz.
His name is Dan, and he's got an anaconda penis, so he's Danaconda.
Okay, all right.
And he'll bite you.
Yeah.
He's also very serpentine.
Oh no.
Oh, and worse than a serpentine Danaconda, I always say.
Anyway, Tajiri was awesome in this match. I thought he was really the one that, he was kind of the ring general of all these guys. And I like the little match that they had after Simon Diamond got eliminated. Good stuff by Guido. I love Sal doing his interference stuff. And yeah, I did 3 1/4.
All right, so we get a clip from TNN where Steve Carino trolled Jerry Lynn. Lynn says he doesn't take crap. That led to the big fight in the back and beat down by Rhino. The big glasses, giant glasses. To the ring we go is Rob Van Dam defending the TV title against Spike Dudley. Stuff that TV wrestling is made for. Big shot for Spike. He stomps out to the ring to a pop. Joey gives some background. RVD's out, gets his long entrance. Joey talks up the epic TV title reign, started in April of 98 with a win over Bam Bam Bigelow. Everything about RVD feels like a spectacle right now. I thought big fight feel regardless of opponent. After a break, we're underway. RVD peppers away, gets a moonsault press. Spike tries to find a seam into some offense, but RVD stomps away. Spike takes him down, drops an elbow. Pelts a drop kick, takes RVD to the floor with a Rana. Spike meets him with a tope, and both fly over the railing into the crowd. After a break, RVD's recovered. He crotches Spike on the railing and punches away, meets him with a Van Daminator. Sick crunch on that one. It goes off the apron. Spike is dead. RVD gets in the ring to regroup, starts around. He flies back out with a corkscrew leg drop while Spike was hanging over the railing. RVD drapes Spike on the apron. Fonzie lays a chair across him. RVD hits a slingshot leg drop but bangs hard on the floor. RVD drags Spike in the ring, hits 2 leg drops for a near fall. Spike counters into a slam into a small package for 2, but RVD recovers and drop kicks him low. RVD kicks away in the corner, puts Spike in the trio whoop, and then skateboards a chair into his face. RVD plays to the crowd. Spike is in pain. RVD gets a gut-wrench powerbomb for 2, sits him up top, tries a superplex. Spike pushes him off. He lands hard on the chair, but RVD pops back up. Spike slugs him and buries him into the chair with a tornado DDT. Spike drop kicks a chair into his face, goes up top, gets a Rana for a close near fall. Spike tries the acid drop, but RVD blocks and crotches him on the top rope and finishes with a Van Daminator and 5-star frog splash. Fun match as expected. Everything RVD does is great, hot, and Spike fed for him as well. Some hellacious offense before getting a touch of shine. RVD's on fire, basically a top guy right now based on all metrics. A really good TV match, and the crowd is into watching their guy pick Spike apart. So that was fine. I went 2 3/4. It's more about RVD just putting on a show and just continuing to be dominant, Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a kind of perfect Spike match. It's exactly what you would expect from the two of them. They kind of repeat a couple of those spots on the guardrail a couple of times, doing the leg drop a couple of times, even though RVD would change location on those. So he would, it, you know, he's like a shark. He's just like fucking with his prey for most of the match as Spike is bumping around like crazy.
I don't know if there's ever, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but like, he's got to be near the top of the list of time frame where a wrestler has complete command of their character, in ring, like, it almost looks effortless. Like,
yes.
I'm thinking like Austin, like in 01 maybe or whatever.
Right.
Like, just complete command of like everything around him. Probably all Austin, honestly, even 98. But like, just everything around him, like, works. Like, he just has a vibe. He carries himself. He's never not this. Like, he's just always on. Probably because it's him. Like, so it's like just always just there, and it almost feels effortless. It's crazy.
I do like the shine that Spike does get kind of towards the end of the match. The top rope Van Daminator and the 5-star frog splash will always be an amazing combination to finish a match. So I did 2 3/4 in that.
Yeah, I mean, I went 2.5 on it. It was basically an extended showcase match for RVD, and it was totally fine because RVD's offense is super fun to watch. The Shine Spike gut was really good. That chair drop kick he hit, and then the immediate roll up, I thought was probably one of the best spots of the match. And it was a really good shine for Spike to get that close near fall, but then eventually RVD just fucking kills him as he does. So it's a fun match. It was missing something for me for it to get to really next level, but I mean, it was a good solid TV title match. So 2.5.
We love RVD, and is he bored in what he's doing?
Yeah.
Or like, is there just some sort of, and he says it in all the promos, nobody could touch me. I beat this guy and this guy, everybody. He's cocky and all of that. Is it like to the point where like he's over it we're over it. We're all over
I
it.
don't think he's over it. I do think he's on cruise control a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He should have left. like watching
How dare you?
on Warzone, like where he's been used on Raw. I don't get why they didn't sign it, unless he just did not want to go. But like, I don't know why he's not in the WWF in '97. Like, he should be long gone, and that's before he even gets to this level. Like now, where he's elite. You know, we all know the story, right? That he was likely going to go to WCW if they had stayed alive and all that. So, but yeah, I don't. We've talked about it endlessly. Like, I don't get why he wasn't the one to take the belt off Taz or, you know, do a quick transition. But I'm sure that's the plan going into 2000, that they're going to strap him up finally and have him lead into the next, you know, decade or whatever. So as we'll see, a lot of stuff alters that, both with him and the company, but it's for shows to come. Joey hypes November to Remember. It's on November 7th in Buffalo. He reveals that RVD will take on Taz, coincidentally enough, for the TV title. So Taz not fully gone yet. I guess he's still around. I mean, they were already showing the
I was going to ask about that.
Just out of nowhere announcing RVD versus Taz.
Yep. I rewound it because I thought I had a stroke, and then it turns out that's what he really said.
Well, they've definitely been showing like the 13 cryptic vignettes on WWF TV. Like that, that's already been happening. So he's definitely going. But my guess is they're like, okay, it's the biggest show of the year. It's kind of a sneaky dream match that never really quite happened. Like, I mean, they might have fought once in there somewhere, but we never really had like a marquee pay-per-view RVD versus Taz match. So they probably were like, yeah, do you want to payday Taz? And as long as WWF was fine with him working the show, like, why not use him? He's still got name value.
Part of me wonders if this was the plan before Taz left. If they were going to do RVD Taz like a title for
November,
title.
Remember, title?
Like a title for title type of thing.
Yeah, but why not just do it anyway?
Right.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was the plan.
Well, maybe they thought Taz was going to WWF sooner than they thought. Like, maybe they didn't know he was going to
do it in Anarchy Rules. You know what I mean? They could just do it there.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't think it was planned. I think it's almost the opposite. Like, once he was going to leave, they were probably like, well, fuck, we never did the match. So
yeah,
we should just have RVD go over him to, like, because are you like, if you look at RVD and you're going to crown him, Taz is kind of the one guy he never really beat. Like, so at least if he beats him here, then at least if he goes on to win the world title, you can be like, okay, well, he didn't beat Taz for the title, but he did beat Taz on his path to the belt. I don't know if he ever beat Shane. That's like another match they never really, I feel like they never really did. I'd have to look back. I mean,
well, Shane was so beat up towards the end. I don't think he could have done any of that.
I want to say they had like a random tag or something, but
he just spent so much time with Sabu and like, and the ECW WWF feud. Like, that was the bulk of those couple of years for RVD. So, and Bigelow. All right. So next week on TNN, Mike Awesome will take on New Jack in a match that fans have demanded, and then of course Awesome will take on Masato Tanaka at the pay-per-view. It'll be New Jack's first ever world title match, and Joey ponders what would mean if he actually won. He plugs Hardcore TV once more as kind of the place to see the insane action that you can't see on TNN. So, all right, let's get to our awards. Best match was a three-way for me, Tajiri, Guido, and Simon Diamond.
I do believe so, yes.
Matt, you good?
Yep.
All right. Worst match, Jazz and Jason.
Yep.
Best moment, there wasn't a ton in there. You know, when I'm kind of desperate for a moment, I'll go with like an RVD move, but even those were like kind of standard in this match. So I went with Diamond and Dick. Like, I thought it was pretty funny. The crowd was into it. I thought Diamond was pretty effortless and something that could have kind of been hokey and over the top. Like, I thought he was pretty smooth and made it pretty funny. I'm
going to go with Jazz's entrance.
I went with Spike's chair dropkick to RVD.
Yeah. All right, most 90s. I went with all the racial and sexual slurs all throughout this episode. Like, we had a lot of sexual innuendo, and then Simon calling Tajiri Mr. Miyagi. Like, so like there was a lot of stuff like that in there.
There was a lot.
Stock Rising on Jazz, Tajiri, Guido, and RVD.
Yeah.
And then Falling, I just went with Dick.
Wow.
Apparently not long.
Sad when Dick's fall.
Yeah. Who among us?
Yeah, goes back in. All right, final grade was 6.5 out of 10. It's kind of a standard episode, above average. Had a couple good matches, but definitely one you could miss, and you're not going to miss much at all.
I was in a good mood when I watched this, I guess, because I did 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I went 6.5 on it.
Yeah, it was fine. It was like a fun 45-minute episode, but again, if you were like trying to pick and choose ones, trying to introduce people to ECW and hey, watch this, watch that, like that's when you could probably say like, all right, you can skip over that and not miss much. All right, let's head over to TNN, that awful network that censors everything. We decided a big deal, and we're forcing people to syndication because it's better. Joey's in this is October 22nd. Joey's in the nest. He sets up the night ahead. We have a controversial and violent world title match. We're going to go right to it as Mike Awesome defends the ECW world title against New Jack. Joel is in the ring. The crowd is red hot. Awesome and Jeff Jones sock out to a big pop. Joey gives the resume. Joey reminds us that if Awesome retains, he'll face Masato Tanaka in November to remember, and he has never beaten Tanaka twice in a row. Joel wishes Mike Awesome luck and scampers off to safety. Natural Born Killers fires up. Out comes New Jack with his can of plunder. The atmosphere is already insane for this. Joey says ECW don't want to promote this match, but the fans have demanded it, and they better have attorneys on a retainer if New Jack were to win. New Jack chucks the can in the ring. He slides in. The fight's on. The music keeps blaring as Jack smacks him with whatever he can find. Awesome comes punching back. Jack bites him in the face and hammers away. The two keep trading punches. Joey says Awesome is playing right into New Jack's hands with this fight. We go to the floor. New Jack lands a hard headbutt as Gertner arrives in the nest. Gertner talks about the fear as New Jack peppers Awesome on the floor, bangs him into the railing. New Jack misses a dive off the apron, slams into the railing with a chair. Back inside, Awesome comes off the top with a clothesline to the side of the head and drops an elbow. He then batters New Jack with a paddle, misses a Vader bomb. New Jack shoots some staples into Awesome's head and then smashes a guitar over Awesome as well. But the champ stays on his feet. New Jack goes up top, but he eats a chair on the way down. And then Awesome sends New Jack through a ringside table with a wild slam over the top rope. Awesome drags him back in, slams, and finishes him with the top rope splash. So perfectly fine as a spectacle. New Jack really doesn't have much left in the tank, honestly, at this point. He did what he could. Instead, big Randy the Ram vibes in this. Awesome, a lot of violent offense. He survives New Jack, earns more ECW stripes as his title reign rolls on. Again, another TV showcase match. New Jack wasn't quite a contender, but it's a cool TV match. You're like, all right, why not use New Jack on the spot? This old ECW gunfighter and legend comes out for a big title match, never had one, so like let's do it here. And Awesome was a good guy to fight him for it. So good finish. Awesome remains dominant. New Jack goes back to whatever it is he's doing, being Denzel's friend, whatever. So on 2.5, Jenny.
The biting was amazing. Look, now, initially, when Joey was like, yeah, next week, New Jack's going to have a title shot. And I was like, I'm sorry, huh? Like, why? But okay, because then I thought about like what they've been doing with Mike Awesome and who he's been fighting so far. And I thought it was a fun addition. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. I want to see them fight. And then it ended up being exactly what I thought it would be. New Jack is insane. I honestly thought he would jump off of something, though. That's what this match was missing for me. Was a big jumping spot, some crowd stuff. They mostly kept it in the ring, but they were innovative with their weapons. The fucking staple gun was amazing. New Jack just biting fucking Mike Awesome's face off was kind of great. And then like Mike is funny because he's like, this ain't what I normally do here. So you can see him kind of working his way through the match and trying to figure out how to stop New Jack from being insane, which you cannot do. So I enjoyed that. Like, to me, it told a story and something I kind of wasn't expecting with this kind of garbage weapons match. I love the table spot. That shit was awesome. So I did 2 3/4. I thought this was really fun.
I mean, look, Rod Price got a world title shot, so why can't New Jack?
How
You right?
I mean, so I went 2.5 on it, and to Jenny's point, it was really fun just seeing Mike Awesome in a different style match than we're used to. Like we're used to him throwing, like we don't see him have like weapons brawls like
Mhm.
No.
ever. So it was really neat to just see him in that type of environment with New Jack biting him, the staple gun. He took out a fucking paddle at some point and started hitting him with that. So like it was a spectacle, like JT said. So it was just I may have liked it more than a 2.5-star match says, but it was super fun for what it was, and good on New Jack for getting another fucking match, because it seemed like for a while he wasn't going to.
That's true too. Yeah,
he was just
for
talking a lot and randomly showing up and interfering and shit. That table bump was nasty, so good on him for taking that. That was rough, but yeah, just a really fun spectacle. So 2.5 for me.
Yeah, it's something we didn't get a lot of with Taz. We kind of got it in the early Shane days where like the world champion is like fights off all these random contenders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's cool that Awesome's just fighting all these random guys, and
Yep.
we haven't been overexposed to Awesome really a lot,
true.
in ECW. So everything
Mhm.
kind of feels fresh with him out there.
Mhm.
All right, we got our opening animation. Joey and Joel resetting the nest. Joel says it's sex and sizzle night.
Ooh, that's my
Yeah.
favorite night.
We
Wow.
had the sizzle, and now it's time for the sex.
Oh,
To
wow.
the ring we go. Is when I think sex, I think Nova. He is here to take on
Yeah.
Chris Candido. Candido's
Ooh.
out with Tammy. Joel keeps rolling. He says, tonight is sponsored by the New Jersey chapter of the Betty Ford Clinic.
Wow.
Christ.
Brutal. When we come back, Nova's in the ring as Joel is still making alcoholic jokes about Tammy. We start with a quick flurry of counters into a Candido tilt-a-whirl head scissors. Nova dodges a clothesline, gets a Rana. We reset. Candido and Nova shake hands. Candido kicks him in the gut, chops away. Nova comes back with a backdrop and a flying forearm for 2. Candido recovers, hammers on Nova. Nova flips him to the floor. Joel talks about Doring and Roadkill stalking Nova, and right on cue, they're out with Miscongeniality. They beat down Nova, and that draws a disqualification. Candido comes in and saves Nova. Tammy slides in and takes down Miscongeniality. Get a cat fight to a pop. Nova, Candido, and Tammy clean house. Not much, honestly, before the storyline took over. Nova continues to deal with Doring all up in his face. So I want a star. Matt, this is kind of whatever.
Yeah, I went a star on it too. The surprising thing for me was that Candido is a guy who not long ago was in a fucking world title match, and now he's facing Nova on a random episode of TV, which kind of tells you where Candido is in the company right now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, as for the match, it was just exceedingly basic. Before
This is the favor, right? Like this whole like
It's gotta
Candido
be
and
something like
Tanny.
that.
We talked about it last episode. Like they needed a boost, probably needed some scratch or whatever as they readjust. And
No,
as a trade off, they're gonna exploit a little bit and try and do the ratings thing with Tammy like they did last week. And as a result, show hey they're clean, they're back at it, and see if they can get paid by one of the big two. Like this absolutely feels like that. Like all right,
Yeah.
Candido, just like. I'm not going to push you because we know you're not going to be around long because you guys are likely angling for, one
Right.
last payday or something.
So I mean, I went a star on it. It was a whatever, Jenny.
It was. I mean, it was a touch more fun for me, so I did a star and a half. Like a lot of energy here, a lot of things you can do, a lot of possibilities with this whole thing. When you add Candido and Tammy to something, even though they have their whatevers, it's still they have a little something to them, right? They're not completely done for at this point. So I'm giving them a chance, is what I'm saying, in something like this to see what they can cook up. So
All right.
I didn't hate it.
Well, they're not gone yet because things briefly settle. Lance Storm and Dawn Marie head to the ring as Doring, Roadkill, and Miscongeniality jumps Candido and Tammy from behind. Dawn has a paddle. Miscongeniality holds Tammy as Dawn paddles her bare ass. Storm and Doring grind on Candido in the corner as Congeniality and Dawn hug. They celebrate, but Dawn, of course, turns on her. She paddles Miscongeniality as well. Storm says the people need to pay attention. Dawn says 2 down and 1 to go. Let's go, Francine. Get your ass out here and show so I can show you I'm the real Queen of Extreme. Francine's out with Tommy Dreamer to a pop. Storm asks which of them is really holding the other back. Storm says he broke Tommy's back, and since then he's of no use to Francine anyway. Tommy and Fran charge into the ring. The brawl is on. All 4 throw down to a pop until Just Incredible's in. He canes Tommy. The Impact players stomp Tommy as Fran and Dawn roll around. Raven's in. He poses, goes to walk away. But as he does, Candido shoves him and yells at him. So Raven steps up to him and he and Tommy clean house. But then, of course, Raven DDTs Tommy and talks shit as we go to break. So the usual nonsense with Tommy and Raven, Eddie's favorite angle.
Kill me now.
I also like the weird insinuation that Tommy and Francine are banging. Like, Tommy, even though
they've been doing that for months.
Yeah, but Beulah, like, they didn't break up. Like, she got hurt. Shouldn't he be like tending to? Why does he have to be banging Francine? I thought it was more like these are the two survivors of the old school, and they're like out of respect working together. Francine was with Shane. He's with Beulah. Like, that's what it felt to me. I didn't realize they're meant to be, unless they're not, and it's incredible being an asshole. But I feel like we get comments on it. I didn't realize they were meant to be a couple. I thought it was like an asexual friendship here between these two.
In wrestling, you thought there was going to be an asexual.
Only because he never got, like, Tommy's still broken up over Beulah getting injured by the Dudleys. It's not like they said she died.
It's been at least 3 months since he smashed his head over a locker over Beulah. So
yeah, so what are we doing?
I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know. I think we're meant to not know, if that makes sense. We're meant to question it. Are we talking about this yet? Or are we moving on?
Well, I can just say real quick. We come back. Tommy's hobbled. He says New Orleans is special to his heart. Of course, because we just talked about that's where Beulah died. He wants Raven out now to finish him. Raven talks back out and stands at ringside. He looks around, saunters to the ring. They circle around, and then Raven leaves. So
yeah,
not a lot looking there.
Man, I don't know. Like, we already said it like a billion times about Tommy and Raven. Why did Raven DDT him? It's like his reflex now. He doesn't know what else to do. It's like he sees Tommy must DDT, and then he's like, "Oh, never mind. That's not what I meant to do." I don't know, but I'm just tired of it, and it's a waste of the tag belts at this point. I don't even like the Impact players, and I'd rather them have the belts than have to watch this shit again and again and again. Raven should have had it out with Tommy. I don't know. There should have been something there. We're just missing a whole thing here. And it really could elevate these shows because there is so much history with these guys, and they're just wasting it all by doing nothing.
I think that is both, like, I think Tommy's is broken down still. And I think Raven, he's either going to be hurt or maybe, like, I don't know what his, I thought he got a straight release. So I don't think he's under any kind of no compete clause, but he may be as well, where he can't.
I was thinking that too. I was wondering that too.
He can do segments, but he can't actually, like, wrestle maybe yet.
He can DDT a motherfucker, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird how he hasn't had.
You're allowed to do one wrestling move, but
something's got to be up. He's either hurt or it's some kind of, like, he can appear, but he can't wrestle kind of thing as part of his release that he got from WCW. But.
And also, as soon as I tried to give Candido and Tammy any credit, there's Tammy's bare ass cheeks, and she's being spanked. So I'm like, okay, well, she's not really trying. She's not really, unless this is her version of that. Like, I mean, her butt looked great, but like
1999. This is wrestling right now.
Yeah. No. So yeah, I don't know. It was sort of messy.
It's very weird that one of the main storylines in ECW right now involves Tammy. Like, it's just like we've covered all of it. We've been in parts where there's 17 fucking storylines going on in ECW. Right now there's like 3 of them, and one of them is with Tammy, and it's a huge fucking storyline. It's just super weird. And like the Raven Tommy thing, like JT said, there's got to be something else to it, because like the fact that they haven't had a match or even really a brawl besides Raven DDTing Dreamer, it's just, given all the history and everything, it's just super fucking weird. And like this can't be by design.
The story feels like the type of story you'd be like, okay, Raven can't wrestle for 4 months, 3 more, whatever it is. So hey, let's like stall by having him play head games with Tommy. And make them unlikely partners or whatever until he's able to wrestle.
It's just really fucking weird, the whole thing.
And if you do that, that's okay. But the only thing we've gotten from Ravens, like those cool, admittedly very cool, Bourbon Street promos, but really he was just nonsense. So he's not done anything like that. You can do things that is not wrestling, but they've also not done those things.
No, he peaked on the night he came back.
Right. And we've had maybe like one promo, maybe two, and then the Bourbon Street stuff.
And we'll see. The pay-per-view will be interesting if they have a match or not there. So
right.
Oh, Joey narrates the one wrestling replay. We see what he had so far tonight. Him and Joel are in the nest. Joey reveals that tomorrow night's at the ECW Arena. The Impact players will take on Raven and Dreamer for the tag title. So maybe that's something. And Sabu will challenge RVD for the TV title. So pretty big card at the Arena on that Saturday night. Sabu, RVD reigniting their old feud. Rhino versus Kid Cash is our next match. Carino and Jack Victory lead Rhino out for this match. We get clips from last week where they brawl with the Saints. Cash is in the ring. Rhino pounces, kicks him around the ring. Joey gives some background for Cash. He gets a springboard cross body for a near fall. Hits a missile drop kick, tries a leapfrog, but gets gored in half for 2. Rhino then pile drives Cash for the win. Squash, but a fun one. Cash looked good in the brief spurt, and Rhino's just on fire. Just cut him. I mean, literally cut him in half. Matt, I want to star.
That fucking gore. That fucking gore was stiff as shit. Good fucking Christ.
Oh my God.
He fucking murdered him.
I watched it like 8 times. It was awesome.
Yeah, just we've seen Rhino squashes before. They're all just fucking fantastic. And Cash looked good here too. That missile drop kick was great, but good fucking Christ, that gore was just fucking nasty. So 1 star for me.
I lost my mind. That shit was so great. But Rhino just looks amazing. Like, it's just really fun. Like, so much fun. I did 1.5, but fuck it, I might do 2 because I just watched him do it again, and it's so awesome. Like, just go back and watch it. On this random move, just in midair.
Yeah,
I can't even. It was beautiful.
You could hear Cash's ribs turn into powder.
It's one of my most favorite things I've seen in a while.
All right, Carino and Victory get in the ring to celebrate. Carino grabs the mic, says there's nobody left for Rhino to destroy except for one person. And tonight, they don't go for the title. Instead, they want to take out the originator of ECW, the hardcore legend. Rhino wants Sabu. Sabu's music hits. He comes out with Fonzie, charges the ring. Joey says Sabu's been banned around the country as he stares down the crew, and the ref slides in, and the match is on. Sabu versus Rhino. Sabu ducks a Rhino lariat, wipes out Victory, turns into a clothesline. The crowd is rabid for Sabu as Rhino stomps on him, chokes him. After the break, our Rhino avalanches Sabu in the corner, slings him outside where Victory and Carino work him over. Joey says this is a rare network appearance for Sabu. Rhino grinds away in the ring, blocks a Rhino with a powerbomb for 2. Sabu gets dumped back outside. Carino and Victory pounce again. Carino shoots Fonzie into the railing. Rhino misses a pescado, bangs into his boss. Sabu drives him into the crowd of the baseball side, follows with an air Sabu. The crowd is losing it. Sabu's elbows ripped open from the chair. Sabu slugs away. Rhino shoots him back to ringside. Fonzie throws Sabu a chair, and he spikes into Rhino's face. Fonzie sets up a table bridge. Rhino hammers back, shoves Sabu on the table, goes to the top rope, but Sabu's up and stops him with punches, takes him down with a Rana. For 2, Carino makes a save. Carino goes up, but Fonzie crotches him, and Sabu gets him with the top rope Rana. His elbow is pouring blood now. Sabu kicks Carino onto the table bridge. Fonzie holds him there, but Rhino cuts off Sabu with a gore. Rhino stomps away, charges with a chair. And Sabu kicks it back at him, tries a triple jump, but Rhino trips him. He falls into the chair. Rhino kicks away at Sabu as Victory gets on the apron. He holds Sabu, but it backfires. Rhino collides with him by accident. He flops to the floor. Sabu drop kicks the legs out, goes to a camel clutch. Carino saves with a drop kick. Fonzie snaps Carino's neck across the top rope, bangs into him with a slingshot body press. Sabu kicks at Rhino, shoves him on the table, and plows through him with a triple jump leg drop. Joey hypes that ECW on TNN is the only place to see Sabu, not Raw, SmackDown, or Nitro. Carino rolls Rhino back in the ring. He survives a leg drop and a pin attempt. Sabu hits a springboard leg lariat, sets up a table in the corner. Rhino fights him off and gores him to the corner. Rhino puts the Sabu on the top, but Sabu takes him down with a tornado DDT. He knocks Victory to the floor, hits a springboard leg drop to drive Rhino through the table, but only gets 2. Sabu puts Rhino's hand in a chair and stomps on it, and then drives him face first into the chair for 2. Sabu goes up top. Carino comes in. He lays on top of Rhino to protect him. Fonzie puts a chair on Carino's head, and Sabu barrels into them with a leg drop off the top. Rhino stays alive, so Sabu just smashes him with Arabian facebuster and finishes with a triple jump moonsault.
My God.
Red hot match. I mean, wild pace.
Ooh.
The chaos was smooth. The crowd was rabid. Rhino looked like a monster, taking all the heavy offense and hanging in. A classic ECW vibes match. It was a mess from bell to bell. True war without getting super violent, so it could live on TNN. The finish was great too with the rapid fire flurry of violence, and this is what you should promote on TNN. Like, nowhere else can you see this fucking guy going crazy in the ring. Like, tune in here. Like, this is the stunt casting that makes way more sense than the Tammy expose. To me, like, this is what wrestling fans want to see. Is this, mysterious legend that you don't get to see a lot on national TV. So 3.5 for me, Jenny. Just a great match. It was a lot of fun.
My God, I was not prepared for this. Rhino just got done beating the shit out of Cash like it was nothing. Turns and says, how about some Sabu now? Because who goes from Cash to Sabu back-to-back matches? Only Rhino. This was amazing. Sabu is fucking insane. He literally will just die. He'll just die. And just doing whatever, jumping off whatever, it doesn't matter. And if it doesn't look good the first time, he fucking goes and does it again. And then if it doesn't work, he just tries something else. He hit every single move that he knows like 2 or 3 times in this match. And Rhino hung the fuck in. He hung in, and it was so amazing. It was amazing. He did that half-ass camel clutch. That shit did not look good. Because he was exhausted and his body was beaten by this time. Like, it was an amazing match, and I want to see them wrestle at least 3 more times. Like, this needs to be a part of a series. Like, it was insane. All of the people trying to interfere in the match. I mean, I did 3 3/4. Like, it was just amazing, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 3.5. We were long overdue for a match like this. It had been a long time since we had seen something like this, and goddamn, it delivered. I love that. Like you guys are saying, Rhino was able to just hang in and fucking take everything Sabu was throwing at him. I mean, eventually he lost, but still he looked fantastic in losing. So big night for Rhino overall. Fonzie hit a fucking slingshot.
Oh shit, Fonzie! I forgot. Oh my God, I lost my mind.
Out of nowhere, that 80-pound motherfucker just splashing Carino was hysterical. Jack Victory took a hell of a bump too at ringside too off the apron, so he'll be in a wheelchair for another 8 months. Fantastic. But yeah, holy shit. Like, and for a match that was out of nowhere, made 5 minutes beforehand, like the fact that, it was this good is just, yeah. I mean, Rhino is clearly, pardon the pun, he's going to be an impact player, I think, in ECW for a while. And this to me felt kind of like his coming out party as being a guy who can hang in the main events with a guy like Sabu. So yeah, this was awesome. 3.5 for me.
Weren't there too many kickouts? Because Rhino kept kicking out of everything Sabu was doing. And
ECW has always been filled with kickouts, so
yeah,
kind of been
and I feel like that was by design to really get Rhino over.
Yeah, maybe by like number 5-ish, I was a little bit like, okay, I don't know, but yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, he just takes the shit, takes a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Joey tells us Sabu faces Taz on TNN next week and runs on the card for the arena show tomorrow. So best match of the night, obviously, I think we all agree, Sabu versus Rhino.
Yep.
Worst match, Candido and Nova.
I believe so.
Best moment, there was a lot of options here, but I went Austin slamming New Jack through the table. Like, I don't want to lose sight of that in the chaos of the last match.
It was amazing.
It was a crazy spot.
I got to go with Rhino spearing Cash out of his fucking shoes.
That's got to be it, man.
That Austin was cool though, because usually he's been power bombing people, so it was a different spot. Like,
he just throws them like a sack of shit.
No, it's got to be that gore. Just next level.
Most 90s, with the ass paddling and Taz like still lingering, even though he's gone. Like, that seems like a 90s thing. Like, oh, he's leaving.
I'm coming back for a month.
Yeah, he's still here. He's leaving.
Why is ass paddling 90?
Why not?
Well, in wrestling,
Okay.
like slapping, spanking ass.
I remember when Austin and Taker faced each other in an ass
They
battle.
may not have, but there were, I'm sure, many paddlings on Raw and SmackDown in '99.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I have to look that up.
Stock Rising, awesome. Storm and Dawn, Rhino, Sabu for me.
Yep.
Yeah. I might I might put Nova and Cash on there too. I don't know.
I gave
I
Nova
enjoyed them.
Falling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
he didn't do much. Candido
He's-
falling as well, obviously.
Yeah, yes.
Cash's rib cage.
Yeah.
Falling apart, yes.
Sex and Sizzle night.
Final grade, I went 7.5 out of 10 on this one. That was a really good episode. Opening match was a lot of fun. The main event was great. The only thing I would say is there wasn't a lot of again, happenings, I guess, on the show, right? It was kind of in a vacuum, but it was definitely fun. It was one of the better TNN ones, I would say.
Yes, one of my probably my most favorite TNN. I don't know. I did 7.5.
Yeah, I went 7.5 on it too. It's up there for TNN for sure.
All right, last one we're going to cover tonight is the October 23rd, 99 Hardcore TV. Fonzie and RVD are up backstage talking about November to Remember, how he has no challenger. He hints at a match with Sabu. He gets Fonzie worked up about it, and they bicker until Sabu comes in. Security separates them. RVD's trolling him. RVD tells Fonzie to let Sabu watch this later. They need to have their match with Fonzie. Stepping back, and he'll issue the challenge so Sabu doesn't have to. RVD says Sabu's different than anybody else except when it comes to getting their ass beat by RVD. So huge match on the way. They've been kind of teasing this, bringing this classic rivalry back. Like there's been a lot of comments and jokes and references. And it looks like we're finally going to get Sabu getting that title shot against RVD.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, it feels inevitable. They had to do it at some point. They've been teasing it for 1.5 years, for God's sake. So better now than never, I guess.
RVD's been through everybody else.
Right.
All right. We get an extended opening animation music video. So, we're short on content.
Yep.
So they're waiting for, I don't know, they're waiting for the arena stuff, I guess, coming in that weekend. So they're probably running low on the Ilario, wherever we are. We do get Joey in the nest this weekend in the arena. RVD will take on Sabu. The winner of that will take on Taz in November to Remember. Joey talks about the rest of the card. Lynn will take on Tajiri, Candido versus Nova, Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten versus DeBaldies, and Mike Austin defending for the first time in the arena as well, and the Impact Players versus Dreamer and Raven. So big night in the ECW arena incoming this weekend. Joey then plugs the ECW magazine as well. We then get our first match, which sees Rotten Balls, Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney, taking on C.W. Anderson and Wild Bill Wiles. Rotten Balls comes out with chairs to a pop from the NOLA crowd. CW and Wild Bill are back at it here. They get some matching gear, but a tough road ahead. Joey says CW was a catcher for the Padres organization and also a power playing graduate. They offered a contract by Eric Bischoff, but decided to come to ECW instead. CW and Axel start off with some back and forth into Axel's clothesline and arm drag. Balls bounces in, drops a leg, but CW escapes. He tags Wiles to reset. The Baldies come to ringside. They're observing as Wiles slugs at Balls. Balls empties a flurry of punches on Wild Bill, kicks him in the nuts, and follows with a lariat. Wiles tries to ride Balls into the top turnbuckle, but Balls no sells, so he goes to the eyes. Balls comes back with a short arm clothesline, takes Bill to the floor, and a spin kick. CW jumps on Balls on the floor, but Axel saves, and they brawl out there. CW shoots Axel to the railing, slips inside, hits a spine buster on Balls. The Baldies are still watching as Wiles and CW take over. Double team Balls. CW goes to a chinlock. Balls gets free and gets a spine buster. Axel tags in and cleans house. Balls returns as they clear Wiles outside to grab chairs to a pop. CW staggers up and gets mashed by 2 chair shots, and Axel covers for the win. Axel gets to Mike. He shit talks to Baldies, calling them curtain jerkers. Asks them what their names are. Angel says they're here to introduce themselves. Axel says the hardcore fans agree that nothing sounds better than a chair against a bald head. So why don't you come in and fight? They charge the ring. Pascal talks DeVito and Angel down, and they head off to fight another day. Joey calls them cowards. Perfectly fine TV match. CW and Wiles are okay. Kept things tight. Post-match was fine, too, to set up a fresh tag feud between Rotten Balls and the Baldies. Jenny, I went 2 stars.
I enjoyed this. You know me, I like me some Rotten Balls, and the crowd was super hyped to see them. And these two jobber guys are fine, I guess. Um, they were kind of nothing, but I enjoyed watching this. And then the Baldies are, interesting. We kind of see them on a Pulp Fiction here and there, and kind of know their names, but that's about it. So I'm glad Axel and Balls are doing something that makes me happy. But I find this venue to be quite distracting because in the crowd it looks like they're in like holding pens for like cattle. It's like it's like four bars like on every row.
Mm.
And so you can't, and it's not lit well. Anyway, it looked like prisoners or something. Like, I don't know. It was driving me nuts. So I'm not a fan of this venue. Anyway, I did 2.25.
Well, we're still in
Yeah,
the Alario, right? Is this
I think it was the same building. Yeah,
yeah.
I think
It didn't, I don't know.
maybe the
But
lighting was different
It
than
is. Yeah, it's
TNN.
really been honestly pretty much the last 2 weeks
Yeah.
have been here. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was a perfectly fine semi-squash showcase for Rotten Balls. I went 2 stars on it. A lot of wrestling holds to start, which was very strange for this fucking pseudo squash match. But eventually, we got to the violence, and good God, that chair shot at the end was fucking
Mm.
brutal. But yeah, it seems like we're gonna get Rotten Balls versus the Baldies, excuse me. So that I think that's a good first feud for Baldies. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I mean, this was perfectly fine for what it was. 2 stars.
Joey narrates clips of Tammy and talks about her resume and success. So we get a clip from TNN where Dawn spanked her. Joey confirms again that Rotten Balls take on DeBaldies in the arena. Good clips from TNN of the Impact players working over Doring's crew to set up Candido, Tommy, Dreamer, and Francine, and then turning on them after they delivered, with Raven saving and taking out Tommy. Joey's in the nest. He says the TNN viewers are going to get jealous of the Philly fans as he runs down the loaded arena card, hypes up the hotline to call for results. If you can't be there, you can check out the website. And Taz versus Sabu will battle on TNN this week as well, which could be their final match ever together. So there you go. It probably is, I'm guessing. We see in the ring as Danny Doring and Roadkill are taking on the Impact players. Interesting match. Doring, Roadkill, and Miscongeniality are out. Credible and Jason, and then Storm and Dawn. Showdown of Rogues. Joey hypes up the future plans of the Impact players, and the big showdown wonders why we're getting separate entrances for the first time. Their ego is growing too much. We do get full intros, the crack whore chants as well. Doring and Storm get us going with some chain work. Storm lands a hard back elbow. Miscongeniality trips up Storm. Doring drop kicks him and shuffles around. Dawn trips Doring. He barks at her as Congeniality slinks around to her. Storm heads out to block any nonsense. We get a reset where the guys all separate the girls to booze. Credible heats up, cuts through Roadkill, misses a baseball slide, bangs crotch first into the post. Roadkill yanks him back into it a second time. Outside, Roadkill shoots Credible to the railing, pounds away. We head back inside, where Roadkill and Doring double team Credible. Storm makes a save. Credible drop kicks, or super kicks Doring, I should say. Storm tags in. We get a double team. In between working Doring over some efficient offense. The Impact players keep quick tagging and batter Doring until he gets a double clothesline with Storm, who's up first and tags Credible, stops Doring from escaping to keep the beating coming. Doring comes back with a G-spot sweep and the bareback to take down both Impact players. Roadkill gets the tag, cleans house. The Impact players are stooging around. Doring gets 2 on a Storm on the top rope elbow. They hit a heart attack for an air fall. Storm takes back over, attacks Credible. They double up. Jason feeds the table into the ring. They set it up in the corner. Roadkill blocks a Credible suplex, tries a German. Credible blocks that with a low blow. Roadkill stops and takes Credible through the table with a belly-to-belly to a big pop. Doring and Storm end up outside. Jason sneaks in, hits Roadkill with an enziguri. Miscongeniality slithers in and goes low on Jason. In comes Dawn. She smacks Congeniality with her purse. Doring grabs Dawn, but Storm saves with a springboard clothesline. Roadkill breaks it up with a springboard leg drop, ducks a Storm super kick, eats a hard, Credible cane shot, and Storm covers for the win. Credible and Storm call out Dreamer and Raven as Joey hypes the pay-per-view. So fine TV tag. Impact players are smooth as silk, controlled the chaos well, bringing the crowd into it. Doring and Roadkill hung in, felt like they were leveled up. So it was beneficial mini feud. The Impact players remain on the roll. They target the tag titles in the arena. 2 3/4 for me, Matt.
Yeah, they did split entrances for this to kill time on the episode of TV.
Oh yeah,
That's
100%.
that's why they did split entrances. But yeah, I went 2.5 on this. It was perfectly fine, and I think this was like a very, very great value version of what they were trying to do with Rhino in the Sabu Rhino match, where they were trying to pump up Doring and Roadkill, put them in there with a bigger name guys to see if they can hang. And I think they mostly did okay, but I mean, obviously Sabu and Rhino was a lot better than this. But I think for the most part, they kind of held their own. But yeah, I mean, it was basically all about the Impact players and building them up for the big match at the arena this weekend. So it was totally fine. It looked like they were able to hang in. I don't know, if it necessarily helped them any as far as backstage, but they looked okay to me. They looked like they could potentially hang in a bigger spot. So 2.5 for me on this, Jenny.
Weirdly, I went 3 on it, y'all.
Wow.
Y'all, I don't really typically like the Impact players that much, but I liked this match quite a bit. And mostly I thought Roadkill and Doring really were elevated. I thought they really showed up and showed out in this match. A lot of chemistry, cool double team stuff. Yeah, they look like, I mean, they used to be like a joke, like the guy that says chickens, and then they're hanging with Storm Incredible, and I thought in a very believable way. So I don't know, I was very impressed with them in this match. The pace was really good. I really love the table break. They teased that spot a couple times, and then Roadkill got the spot. I thought that was great, and it was a fun match. 3 stars.
It's kind of a legacy of comedy acts that get a little bit more serious and become players in ECW. I mean, it's the one consistent thing since '94 when we started, right? It's like we always kind of have those, comedic guys that seem like low card fodder that end up developing and being players. So,
and they always win me over.
Yep, and they always, are fine down on the low card. So, Joey hosts up the arena, the hotline, the website. We get a replay of that music video from the beginning. So, definitely a killer. To get to the next batch of arena footage here. Best match, and I guess too, like when they have episodes like this where the TNN taping isn't its own thing, they're gonna run out of footage even quicker than they used to, because it's like now we have to fill TNN and Hardcore TV with this one event. We have had separate TNN tapings, but this is all from the Ilario. They film and everything, so definitely kind of running low. All right, best match. I went with that main event that we just talked about: Impact players versus Doring and Roadkill.
Yes.
Worst was Rotten Balls versus CW and Wild Bill.
Mm-hmm.
WB and CW was
WB.
Should we call them teams, the syndicates?
He was a dancing frog.
We're going to call them the local affiliates from now on. CW and WB and Wild Bill. Best moment, I went with RVD's promo in the beginning. I thought it was pretty good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with the table break for Roadkill.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much on this episode as far as great moments, but I think I'll go with RVD.
Most 90s, I'm with the reference of CW going to the power plant. WCW power plant.
Yeah, that's very 90s. You're right.
Stock Rising, I went Rotten Balls, Impact players. I guess, I mean, you could put Doring on there too.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah.
Like you said, he definitely looked like he didn't look outclassed. So, or
No.
The Danaconda.
Yes.
Don't want none unless you got buns, huh?
All right, we need John Boyd. Stock falling, I went with CW's brains. Just got completely fucking scrambled.
Sure did. Jesus Christ.
He's really gonna think he's related to Arn. Final grade, I went 5.5 out of 10. I thought it was a slightly above average episode. This is the effort. To me, the energy they put into it is the energy that took it back for me. So it felt very much. I felt like a throwaway. It was a time-killing throwaway.
Yeah.
We get these sometimes on like the doorstep of the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But this one felt like, we're out of footage.
Yeah.
They could have thrown a classic match in there, maybe at least.
Right.
But,
No, fuck that. I'd rather have something.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just
like this.
But we have
the
the
main
two music
event was fun.
videos. 8 all the time. Like that was.
Yeah.
We didn't need the same fucking music video twice.
Yeah, true.
They could have shown something from TNN even. Like,
Yeah.
Give us Rhino and Sabu for people that might have missed TNN. They could have done that.
That's a good idea. I did 6 out of 10.
We got nothing here. The episode. I went 5.5.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it. So we'll be back in a couple weeks with more ECW. We'll be covering the final 4 weeks of TV going into November to remember. So we're going to get the go home. We'll get 2 TNNs, 2 hardcores, and then we'll set up the pay-per-view. So lots to go. Be sure to subscribe to Everything North South Connection. We're nearing year end. So, of course, we always say very thankful for all of our listeners and viewers and fans. Be sure to share the information in front of you and leave us some comments and some likes and some love as well. So stay extreme. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Everyone take care.